Hey, Pamela. How are you this morning? I'm hanging in there. About as good as we can do, I guess. Did you watch that little video we made last night where we was trying that drink? Hey, Alice. Hey, Kathy. You did? Did you see all them faces that Christina was making? That stuff poured out pink looking. One took her to work, 105 again. It was 91 while ago here. Uh, yeah. When it was poured in glass, it was pink, A while ago up there, when we went by, they had the little pink label ones. So I guess you'll probably want to do them again tonight, too. So that's the only two kind we've seen so far. Okay. Yeah, her face expressions were just something else, I tell you. I wouldn't have never thought it would have packed a punch like that, been in a little bitty can, but it sure did. It worked so well, I had to, she had to be at work at 11, so I finally got her up about 10 out of 10. So she was doing some resting. Hey, Carol, Kathy. I enjoy doing little things like that with her. She can make you laugh just the way she looks at you sometimes. And someone mentioned in a comment last night about the way her face was doing it. When she got up this morning, I turned it on the big screen in there, and she was watching it. It was funny. Hey, Carol. Dadgummit. I bet it's gonna probably hit right at 100 or so here, because like I said, it was 91 while I go up there at the red light. Yeah, she is.
About it. We should get through as many of you.
You had a long night?
Each
I told you, love. Leave that dumb idiot and come out here. Pack you some bags and I'll come get you. You ain't got to put up that crap. Bit your nipple. Joshua. Was that you?
And he's also
Well, if they did, it would have to be remains. But Sebastian, on the other hand, if it's like he's saying, then he's already in something inside the home. So.
We'll take the mic.
Trouble of a lot of these missing teens and children is they'll be moved from one place to the next. After everybody thinks they quit looking, that's when they get caught because they go back and look to make sure that everything's still the way it's supposed to be.
Develop.
Tanya Lynn says, hey, Billy Ray, miss you.
Red cup.
Who's ready to talk? Hey, Sabina. The wives?
Turn here.
Let me turn this on one I'm more familiar with. See what we get. There's no telling, though. You need to just grab your essentials, what you actually need, and piss with the rest of it, and call me up and give me the address. I can put it in GPS, and I'll come down there and get you. You won't have to put up no bunch of junk like that. You can get your job right out here. Matter of fact, you can get a job right up here with Christina. And I told you, we'll help you get you a vehicle. Bring them with you. We'll figure it out. Tanya Lynn says, hey, Billy Ray, miss you. She needs to smile. That's what I say too. I told her to come on up here with me. Yeah, it is peaceful. Yeah. Yeah, it's peaceful. Yeah, he's bad for her. Yeah. Kathy says, love you, Amy Mansfield, with hearts. Amy Mansfield. For a fact, yeah, they did. Alice says, God bless you, Mama Joy. Summer Rose with prayers and angels. Homesick. Y'all crowding each other is crazy now. Y'all separated a little bit. Pup. Yeah. Are you talking about yucky? Something. You said, yeah. That's cool. You love yucky, huh? That's cool. Get out of here, you bastard. Good morning, Tori. Find me. Who said that? Need help out? Out of what, love? Need help out of what? Yeah. Need help out of what? They're sinking. Tell me more about. Tell me more about Jack and Lilly Sullivan from Canada, from Nova Scotia. What man in vehicle? Did Malaya and some guy take these children to a property that's been handed down to Malaya through family? Was it Malaya that did this to these children? Pure evil, yes. 100%. Crystal, he made money. We already pretty much put that together. Doggy or something. Has Malaya been lying this whole time about everything? A recent photo. Has Malaya Brooks been lying this whole time about her children? It's just a yes or no question. Hey, Patricia. I'm gonna ask it again. Has Malaya Brooks been lying this whole time about her children, Jack and Lily? That's what I figured. Can I stay where? I'm not going to let it go if that's what you're talking about. I think it's coming more to a head now. Don't whisper, Rose. Rose, have they found Malaya Brooks since she's run off with a baby? Have they found her yet? They just have not broadcast it to the public yet. Is that correct? I believe so too. Baby, yeah, I think if they did go ahead and find her, she may be in custody at the moment. And I don't know if CPS would. They might give it back to her mama. I don't know, because I guess the way she left up in the night, run off with a baby, it really wasn't her mama's fault, really, because she was probably asleep with Prince Valium or something, So, tell me about Malaya Brooks. Has authorities found her and the baby? Not Jack. I know that, so I know. I'm talking about that baby, Meadow. Yeah. Dear God, that's the best thing you could say. Yeah. If they have found her, she's in custody, and either Meadow has went back to Malaya's mom or CPS has got her. Is she in custody? And they have not publicized it yet. Y'all quit talking at once and just try to answer a question. Has Malaya and Meadow been found by authorities? It's either yes or no. I'm not talking about the baby's face or whatnot. I'm sure it's a beautiful baby, but I need to know if Malaya, since she's been on the run, is she caught? And who has the child now? Has Malaya been caught? And is she in custody? What? So there's a lot that they're not throwing out to the public again right now. Morning, Joni. I heard something sound like from Josh, that nickname y'all gave him, fish bait. I didn't timestamp it, but I could have swore I heard it. It was pretty cool. It's kind of been every which word, but I'm trying to ask some questions since Malaya's run off with that baby. If they've found her yet, and if they have, is she in custody? Who's got the baby now? I don't know if it'll go back to her mom or not. CPS may keep the baby until they can adopt it out. I don't know. Because they most definitely ain't going to let Daniel have any of the kids. Since it was like 9. Well, I mean, you can listen to it back, and I mean, there were a few people talking at the time, but you could plainly out hear the guy's voice say, "Yeah, how do you say it? Yeah, they called me fish bait. Yeah, something like that. It was neat." And I said, "Josh, is that you?" And I may have heard a yeah, but there's, like I said, there's some other people talking. But well, they better find that baby. Um, a couple of days ago when we was listening to one of these from one of the detectives out of Halifax up there, they said that not only could she just be a danger to herself, but anyone around her. And like I said, she's the type of person that she'd probably take the baby. Now I can't say for sure, but it's what I feel. I feel that she would take that baby's life before she'd give it up to anybody else. She don't want to lose her baby. She thinks if she runs, then there you go. And then the twist is kind of what you're talking about here, Sabina. It has a $150,000 reward for the whereabouts of Lilly and Jack Sullivan. Call Nova Scotia RCMP at 902-485-4333, or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. Uh, if if she's not been found, okay, now that's going to be a big word right now. If she's not been found, then apparently her boyfriend has his own place, and if nobody knew his real name or knowed anything really of him, because I'm pretty sure she kept him under wraps, but, till she could get a divorce from, nut job. But uh, she could be still right under their nose, and they're just not knowing it. I'm pretty sure they're hot on trying to find out who it is. Um, because, you know, I don't see her leaving that state with that baby without being caught. I just don't. But the boyfriend, maybe he's living with his parents too, and they don't know nothing about it. And maybe she just went there and act like everything's cool. But what's she gonna say when asked about the other babies? You know, I mean, they're, she's spreading rumors on herself. You know, it the typical person that does anything that goes against law or just humanity, they're not going to take the time to tell everybody what you're going to do. They'll just up and do it. Kind of like a suicide. People sometimes may give off signs a little bit, maybe even leave a note, but they're not going to go around telling everybody how I'm going to kill myself and then do it. They just do it. And before anybody could take that baby from Malaya, she would end both hers and the baby. Yes, we love Summer and Rose, Sebastian, Mama Joy with hearts and roses. Yes, yes, we do. Uh, I don't even know if there have been any updates today or not. There's some we seen yesterday that said kids been found, this and that, and then we listened to another and said that's crockable. Still ain't no evidence of that, you know. And somebody's pretending to be Malaya's uncle. That they're just trying to get anything into the media that they can, except for the truth. Um, but I would rather hear from the dead than I would the living. If she's, it's just a yes or no question. But then again, you know, spirits can help in 100% ways, but sometimes it's just not on our terms. We can ask, of course, but it don't always happen just like we we would want it to. But now that Summer has said something other about how that baby looks, then I'm pretty sure Rose is on that pretty quick. That's what I would think. That's exactly what I would think. But you know, yeah. Oh yeah, that you know, neither one of them gonna be innocent. Period. Like I said, and even Daniel will never, ever, ever get custody of that baby. Period. Um, I've not done a back search on him, but uh, there is a little article about some of his past, and I've not watched it yet. But he may have something about children in his past. Uh, but no, they'll never release that baby to him. Period. Uh, and I'm not sure. Well, I'm not 100% sure that uh, they let uh, Malea's mom even keep it now. But I mean, they may. You know, let's see what else they may say. Yeah, he was married before. Can anyone tell me if Malaya Brooks from Nova Scotia, Canada, has been caught by authorities? Who won't tell you? Well, if you just said media, then there's some people that already know.
Yes.
Uh, Rose, do you think that Malaya left and went with her boyfriend to his home? Or do you think that would be looking too suspect? Does this uh what's that fellow's name? It may be his uncle. What was his name? Uh, well, if media is involved, then they've got her in custody. Period. Durwood O'Grady. Is Durwood O'Grady? Listen, hold up. Wait. Is Durwood O'Grady Daniel's kinfolk? It's yes or no? No. Is it Malaya's kinfolk? Let me ask this again. Really listen to what I'm saying. Wait. Hold up. Not yet. Hold up. Is Durwood O'Grady kin to Daniel Montana? You're thinking, yeah. All right, now, wait a minute. That's an honest answer. Do you think that Durwood O'Grady could be kin to Malaya. Or would that be too obvious? Both. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've heard too, Alice. But now, I don't know what to believe other than what they tell me here. But I'm always, we can listen to them things all day long. But unless they admit it to the spirit box, I'm not going to believe it. Let me just look and see real quick if they have actually got anything yet up about if they found her after running off. They got a thing here that says what 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 mostly likely happened. Yes, Malaya Brooks' stepfather. The last seen some other surveillance, which we know that's a damn lie. That's probably chase and tail. Um, here's one. It says she knew everything. Latest update. He blamed her. 21 minutes. Let's see what it says.
In rural Nova Scotia. The voice on the other end was calm, matter of fact. Lilly and Jack Sullivan wouldn't be attending class that day. No explanation given. Just a simple absence notice that would later tear apart everything we thought we knew about this case. If you're new here and you want to stay updated on cases like this...
Well, yeah, I do too. Your metabolism is probably running 90 to nothing. Yeah. Yeah.
One that shake entire communities, hit that subscribe button now. Because what you're about to hear will challenge everything you think you know about missing children cases. The morning mist still clung to the dense forest surrounding Lansdowne Station, to ice water, and makes your hands shake as you dial 911. Within minutes, their quiet rural property was transformed into the epicenter of a desperate search operation. But here's where the story takes its first dark turn. Remember that 6 a.m. phone call to the school? Both parents claim they were still asleep at that time.
Exactly.
They insist they didn't realize the children were missing until 10 a.m. So who made that call? Who knew 4 hours before anyone else that Lilly and Jack wouldn't be...
Wait a minute. Okay, that's two lies. So, 1, 2. Let's just count, just see how many we get into here. I think more so the baby than Malaya. I don't know.
School that day. This single detail would become the first crack in a timeline that would eventually shatter completely.
But see, that's what she told Daniel to say. Because see, Daniels done said that he changed his story. He said that he was up at 6 o'clock, got the kids ready, and went to take them to the school bus. Well, the school bus driver said they ain't seen them in a week. And then he probably told her, said, I done told what time all this was. And she told them to say at 9:50, at 10:50. So, see, they both, yeah, they, she done threw him under the bus. And she don't give a rat's ass about Daniel. That's the truth. Uh, so right there's two. One about the timeline, but by the timeline, the first one was saying that they was up at 6 o'clock, which both of them was said it was not because they were in and out of sleep. So if they were in and out of sleep, how would they know what they're wearing, and how in the world could they have took the kids to the end of the driveway and get on the school bus? See, that's just stupid.
The initial search was everything you'd expect when two small children vanish without a trace. Helicopters thundered overhead, their rotors chopping through the morning air. Search dogs were brought in, their noses pressed to the ground, following invisible trails that seemed to lead nowhere. Volunteers arrived by the dozens, combing through the dense, storm-damaged forest that surrounded the family's property. 5 relentless days, the wilderness near Lansdowne Station became the heart of a desperate manhunt. Every broken branch was examined. Every footprint was photographed. Every potential hiding spot was searched and searched again. The landscape itself seemed to be working against them. Post-tropical storm Fiona had torn through the area, leaving a battlefield of fallen trees and thick undergrowth.
Exactly.
Visibility was limited.
Exactly. Uh, we asked that question a minute ago, and yeah, it could be from either trying to protect. But I think now what that's what they wanted to do. What's happening right now is what they wanted to happen. They wanted everybody to start worrying about her and Meadow, put the tension off on them, and not so much on Jack and Lily. That woman in the overseer of the searches, after 7 times of searching, and come find out they're just placing stuff out there to make it look like it, they decided to quit until Malaya let it slip that some property had been handed down uh, not far from where they lived. And just so happened on that property, there's a well. And they have found child's teeth, child bone. Now, I don't know if there've been any other updates about finding the rest of the stuff. Uh, and that could have been back in 1800s, when that happened. They just now finding the remains of it. Or it could have been Jack and Lily. Who knows? If there's enough bone marrow, they can get a DNA test. Uh, I don't know. But the dude that is claiming to either be her kinfolk or his kinfolk, that's the one that we need to know who that is. Because whoever it is knows exactly where the children are. Because I'm sure that's how come her and Daniel got into it. He probably woke up to what was going on, and he just flipped, and just they thought saying in and out of sleep would throw it off enough they would think a kidnapping, uh, which that did not take place. They've done ruled that out completely. Yeah, trying neither one of them's innocent, period. But did Daniel try to cover it up? Yes. Did this other feller probably help do some of the, you know, yeah, more than likely. And then whoever the boyfriend person is, we ain't got his name yet that I know of. Uh, so yeah, they're They're just trying to make it to where people's chasing tail, and they think they'll get tired of it and drop the case, and they'll go cold, and they won't have food with it no more. But I I think it's probably getting too close for that now. Yeah, they don't want nothing to do with him. It could be. It's all in the family. It's family oriented. I guarantee that. Uh, all all except for the whoever the boyfriend is, but uh, that'll come pretty soon too. Let's see what else they got to lie about here.
Progress was painfully slow. Every step forward felt like pushing through nature's own obstacle course. But the searchers pressed on, driven by hope and the haunting thought that somewhere in those woods, two small children might be waiting for rescue. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the search stopped. Not because they'd found anything, not because new leads had emerged, simply because there was nowhere left to look. The silence that settled over the forest was deafening. For weeks, nothing stirred. No new evidence, no credible sightings, no breakthrough that would bring Lily and Jack home. Until nearly a month later, when something changed. Search teams returned to the same wooded area, but this time felt different. Smaller, more focused, like they weren't trying to find two children anymore, but rather one last piece of evidence that might explain what really happened that morning. They were searching for answers, but what they would uncover instead were more questions. Questions that would shift the focus from the missing children to the adults who were supposed to protect them. The truth about Lily and Jack Sullivan's disappearance was about to become far more complicated than anyone imagined. And that 6 a.m. phone call? It was just the beginning. Cracks in the timeline. When investigators piece together a missing persons case, every detail matters. Every decision, every timeline, every seemingly innocent choice gets scrutinized under the harsh light of suspicion. And in the case of Lily and Jack Sullivan, those details were starting to paint a picture that didn't quite make sense. Daniel Martel's actions in those first crucial hours would later raise eyebrows among both investigators and the public. When panic struck and the children were discovered missing, Daniel sprang into action. Or so it seemed. Here's what's troubling. Daniel had immediate access to a working ATV, perfectly suited for navigating the dense, storm-damaged forest that surrounded their property. This wasn't just any terrain. We're talking about thick undergrowth, fallen trees, muddy trails, and swampy areas where a street vehicle would be useless. But Daniel left the ATV behind. Instead, he got into his car. A street vehicle designed for pavement, not pines, not brush, not the kind of desperate off-road search that the situation demanded. To anyone with experience in search and rescue, this decision felt less like a panic-driven mistake and more like theater. Think about it. If your children were missing in dense woodland, wouldn't your first instinct be to grab the tool that could actually help you search effectively? Unless, of course, you already knew the search would be unsuccessful. The timeline problems didn't stop there. That mysterious 6 a.m. phone call to the school continued to haunt the investigation. Someone called to excuse Lily and Jack from school 4 hours before their parents claimed to have noticed they were missing. The caller knew these children wouldn't be attending class that day, long before anyone supposedly realized they were gone.
See?
This wasn't a mother calling in sick children. This was someone with advanced knowledge of exactly what was about to unfold. If you're finding these details as disturbing,
Yeah, when they called the school and everything, you know, they already knew. So that's what they're trying to say. Okay, this happened a week, 7 days before it was even called and reported. I mean, the principal said so, the nurse at the schoolhouse said so, the bus driver said so. I mean, come on. We're talking about 4-year old and 6-year old. Malaya was smart enough that when his dirty diaper fell off, that she tied his shirt around him to cover him. Now, I don't give a damn what Daniel or Malaya says. They would not go and just drop these children off that could possibly be found and be, where they could tell on the mom and Daniel. That don't work. Never has, never will. And they keep claiming that they ain't no suspect yet. They full of crap. They know what happened. They need to stop this mess. Heck, I don't know. I used to when I was going to school. You didn't even start till you were 7-year-old. Somebody said they probably went to preschool or something like that. About like a daycare thing, but Jack rode the bus, with her or something, I guess. But everybody at the schoolhouse done claimed it. Before that call come in, it had done been a week. So we're really looking at about 7 to 8 weeks right here. No. But like I said, Lilly said that the dirty diaper came off and she wrapped his shirt around him to cover him up. And then they went to a property that did have a well on it. And then I heard him say the water's cold. And I heard another voice that said mud. But day before yesterday or so, or day before that, got a search warrant to search that property. And the first thing they started with was that well. And then they found the children's teeth and children's bones. So they've been missing way before they ever called this in. And now it's so twisted up. There's no coincidence for two children to fall in a well. Even if everything they're saying is about ignorant as it gets.
As I am, make sure you subscribe because this case has layers that will shock you. Hit that subscribe button and let's uncover this together. As days turned into weeks without any trace of the children, public attention began shifting in an uncomfortable direction. It wasn't just about where Lilly and Jack had gone anymore. It was about the adults who were supposed to be protecting them. Daniel's behavior during interviews started raising red flags.
Yeah.
His tone wasn't cracked by emotion. It wasn't panicked or desperate in the way you'd expect from a man whose stepchildren had vanished.
Right.
Instead, he was calm, composed, almost defensive. He spoke with the measured cadence of someone who had rehearsed his answers. More troubling still, his interviews weren't filled with pleas for help or cries for his children's safe return. Instead, he focused on his own torment, his own frustration, his own suffering. Not theirs. It was the voice of a man explaining rather than searching. The public began to notice. Online forums buzzed with uncomfortable.
We was talking about this a few weeks ago. If y'all remember back, at least a couple weeks ago. I said, well, yeah, it was because that's when I threw that fella off the porch over yonder. I said, it's about time people stop thinking about their dadgum self and put their children before them. Children should come before anybody else. Okay, say you divorced or whatnot, you get with this other feller. Yeah, you're supposed to love your feller, your partner, whoever you're with, but them children come first. It don't make no difference, how well you love her like this new person. The children come first. Something happened, he or her got their ass out of here. My children comes top of all notches. And when he's trying to put on, okay, like he just really needs the help, you know, because I just really don't know, you know. That's plainly saying I do know. Why did they went 7 times? The fifth and sixth time they went the same trails. There was a little arbor built with some of their stuff in it, with a piece of torn blanket, her pink blanket. So they said, okay, no more. Somebody's fooling us right here. Ain't nobody in these woods. And that's common sense. Because every time they'd try, something would throw them off. I mean, this little arbor thing, dogs could not even get to. 3 or 4 people had to move the wood to even get to this little arbor thing. You know. And we know Jack and Lilly didn't do it. So they wasn't even out in the woods, period. I mean, they have 2 choices here. Either they're further on back, not in the woods, but just back behind their place, or yeah, they're over on the other her property that's been handed down, uh, either buried there or something, or either in that well. I mean, there ain't but just a couple of options left, you know. So that. Yeah. Well, I got news for her. If they have even any bone marrow left in the bone, uh, they'll get DNA. Um, it's sad though that it's baby teeth because they probably wouldn't really work on that kind of teeth because you grow a second set, so it wouldn't be nothing like a filler or anything like that too much on one. But if it was, you know, then they could definitely make a comparison. But it's things just gonna take some time, and during this time, you're just gonna see YouTubers start rolling things around. They found this, they found that, latest update. Don't miss this, don't miss that. You know, and it's all saying the same damn thing. So
Questions. Why was Daniel so composed? Why did his story about the search choices not add up? And where was Malia during all of this? While Daniel appeared frequently in media interviews, positioning himself as the concerned stepfather desperate for answers, Malia had seemingly vanished from public view. The mother of the missing children had gone completely silent. No press conferences, no televised pleas, no social media presence. Some said she was emotionally paralyzed by grief. Others suggested she was following legal advice. Many wondered if her silence was strategic, designed to protect herself from the growing scrutiny that was beginning to surround the case. But whatever the reason, her absence became as controversial as Daniel's visibility. While one parent spoke too much, the other said nothing at all. And in that vacuum, public trust began to collapse. People didn't know where to look anymore. They only knew that something felt wrong. Something in the way this case was unfolding didn't match the typical pattern of parents desperately searching for their missing children. Then came the revelation that would crack the case wide open. A private message sent from Daniel to Malia would soon surface. A message that would shift the entire narrative from a search for missing children to something much darker. The evidence was starting to suggest that this wasn't just a case of 2 children who wandered off into the woods. This was something else entirely. Something that had been planned, concealed, and carefully orchestrated from the very beginning. What that message contained would change everything we thought we knew about the morning Lilly and Jack Sullivan disappeared. The blame game begins. The message didn't come from a press conference. It wasn't part of a televised plea for help. It surfaced quietly, like a whisper that would soon become a roar. A private text message that would ignite something far more destructive than Daniel Martel ever intended. If she hadn't left, Daniel wrote, none of this would have happened. To the public, it didn't.
Now, wait a minute. Okay. He made a statement on the phone, probably one of them old flip phones that you can just throw away. If she just hadn't have left, we wouldn't look so suspect. And he probably would have carried on saying they were thought it's kidnapping, and eventually it'd go cold and we'd been out of it. But that's not what they done. She went ahead and left anyway, and now everything's going to crap. I mean, she's throwing him under the bus every which way she can. But with that comment right there, who did she comment that to? Yeah, that's the $1,000,000 question. Did she, or did he comment that to that feller there that you was talking about name? Or did he say that to his brother, or to his cousin, or to Malaya's mom? Who did he say that to? Because it didn't go to Malaya. If it did, he would have said we got a response from Malaya saying something like, yeah, I probably should have stayed until everything went cold. Now the question is, who did he send the message to? And they know it. Authorities know who. And they're just not telling. That's a dead giveaway right there. If that's not enough to hold somebody responsible for a child underage, especially 4 and 6, if that's not enough to stand on to keep somebody in custody till they crack, they need to fire everybody up there in Canada and put in a whole new police department, investigators and everything else. But apparently there's a reason why they've not yet said who that text went out to. But we know it come from Daniel. So, and we know it wasn't to Malaya because she would have responded back quick. So, yeah, who did it go to?
Sound like heartbreak. It sounded like blame. In those 8 words, Daniel had fundamentally shifted the narrative. No longer was this simply about 2 missing children. Now it was about pointing fingers, about assigning responsibility, about deflecting suspicion from himself and directing it toward Malia Brooks Murray. The timing was calculated. The tone was deliberate. The implication was devastating, that Malia's absence somehow triggered the unthinkable. But what Daniel seemed to forget was that blame is a dangerous game, especially when your own story has holes big enough to drive a truck through. If you're as disturbed by these developments as I am, you need to subscribe to stay updated on this case, because what happens next will shake you to your core. Daniel didn't stop with that single accusatory message. He began crafting a public narrative, positioning himself as the wrongfully accused stepfather, the committed partner left behind in a storm of judgment. He painted Malia as the negligent primary caregiver, the one who had walked out when the children needed her most. But perhaps most damaging of all, Daniel began making claims about a polygraph test. In interviews, he repeatedly mentioned that he had taken and passed a lie detector test, emphasizing the results as if they were proof of his innocence. I do have results, he said with confidence, and I don't know if I can share those results, but they were good in my favor. The problem? No confirmation ever came from law enforcement. The RCMP, who had been cautious and reserved in every public statement, offered no comment about any polygraph test. But Daniel didn't wait for validation. His narrative was already taking shape, crafted not in courtrooms but in comment sections, live stream chats, and YouTube panels. The parallels to other high-profile cases became impossible to ignore. Some viewers began drawing comparisons between Daniel and Don Wells, the father of missing Summer Wells, another man who had turned his child's disappearance into a media crusade, giving endless interviews, inserting himself into narratives, and becoming a fixture in the true crime community. The pattern was eerily familiar, a male figure becoming the face of a missing child case, not through desperate pleas for help, but through carefully controlled media appearances designed to shape public perception. As Daniel's online presence grew, whispers turned into open speculation. Was he trying to help find the children, or was he simply trying to be seen? Was this grief, or was this performance? Meanwhile, Malia's silence became deafening. The mother of two missing children had completely withdrawn from public view. No interviews, no statements, no appearances at search efforts. She had essentially vanished alongside her children, leaving a vacuum that Daniel seemed all too eager to fill. Those close to the case offered various explanations for her absence. Some said she was emotionally paralyzed by the trauma. Others suggested she was following strict legal advice. Many believed she was being protected by family members or lawyers who recognized that anything she said could be used against her. But whatever the reason, her silence became as controversial as Daniel's visibility. The public found themselves caught between a man who spoke too much and a woman who said nothing at all. Neither option felt right. Neither felt like the behavior of innocent parents desperately searching for their missing children. The blame game had fractured what should have been a united front of grief and determination. Instead of two parents working together to find their children, the public was witnessing something that looked more like a custody battle being fought in the court of public opinion. Daniel's strategy seemed clear. Paint himself as the stable, committed stepfather while positioning Malia.
They may have just said one of the key words right there, custody. He knew about her mental state. He knew about her bipolar and could be schizophrenic. I mean, that kind of ties in a little bit with it sometimes. Different personalities. Maybe he thought in his mind that he could take custody of the child. And she got pissed off and, threw off the handle. But if he's already got a rap from doing something with a child before, there's no daggone way he's finna get that. So, but why hurt or do away with Jack and Lilly? Did she only care about the baby, not Jack and Lilly? Because every time you turn around, they kept saying Mom was mean to Jack. He's a maniac. They're always angry. I guess they got their wish. We're not here anymore. How much more does a daggum authority need to hold somebody accountable until some more proof comes up? I mean, I can understand somebody being dumb for a minute or two, but this is going on about 7 weeks now or more, maybe closer to 8. They can't just keep falling for what they're trying to say and what they ain't. They know they're playing a game. Why do you think her mom tried the best to keep from her calling or texting with him? That's why she went and got one of them daggum flip phone things where you can throw them away or whatever they're kind of called. This is unnecessary. Okay, she knew everything. She's throwing him under the bus. Okay, this can't be one-sided, period. It's to the point to where, you can't believe nothing that they're saying at all. I mean, okay, now this one here says, Case about to break. All right, let's listen to some of this and just see.
Crisp against the damp soil. To many, it was just one. It began with a single mark on the forest floor, a small, solitary boot print, its edges crisp against the damp soil. To many, it was just one more imprint among hundreds in the dense underbrush of Gairloch Road. But to the Nova Scotia RCMP, it was different. It had the potential to unravel the tragedy of two missing siblings. 4-year-old Jack Sullivan and 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan disappeared on May 2nd, 2025. This is where the renewed search began, and the first new hint that something or someone had crossed paths with those children. On May 30, nearly 4 weeks after Jack and Lilly vanished, a group of ground searchers resumed combing a pipeline trail adjacent to the original search area. This was not random. The RCMP had quietly zeroed in on that stretch 8 days earlier. A faint boot print, solitary, child-sized, pressed deep into a muddy rut hinted at recent...
See? What'd I tell you? What did I tell you? Now they won't come back. Now, this was 13 hours ago. They know for a fact that boot print, yes, was one of the children's, and it was hers, Lily's, and pressed too deep. I mean, I've tracked all my life. I've tracked coon. I've tracked mountain lion. We've tracked bear. We've tracked deer, red-tailed fox. And let me tell you something. After you do this so many years, you learn what's a buck, what's a doe, what's a little fawn. You can tell by the size and deepness of the prints. You can even tell what direction the deer was standing and looking back at. Like if he was looking over his left shoulder, his right hoof is going to be deeper than the rest. This child would not have been pressed down over an inch in mud. That would not work. But they know that it had to be somebody pressing that boot down to get that depth. And we talked about that weeks ago. I mean, because that dog won't hunt. Okay, it just won't.
Activity, and perhaps a timeline. Investigators described it simply: a possible boot impression believed to belong to someone in the children's age or boot size range. Site to turn search 7, turn search 2. It was found in a part of the forest previously deemed less promising, where the canopy was thicker and the undergrowth had been less systematically swept. Despite its unassuming appearance.
Yeah, right where a dog couldn't even get in. So I'm talking about, I'm about to get fed up with that bunch up there. They need to listen to how things are being said, not what's being said. They're running around with their thumbs up their butt. This is crazy. If they don't realize that every bit of this stuff on every one of these tracker search times is not being set up by somebody else, and if they don't believe that, they're ignorant. They all need to be fired, done away with, and put some new people in there. That Jack and Lilly could not have done that. Period. How much more dumb can you get? You're wasting time. Time is crucial. Now, it probably don't even really matter now, other than if they are in a well that's got snag tied in it. They need to quit playing chase the mouse. Get him in the jailhouse. Get her in the jailhouse. Start that interrogation. Get rough. Get hateful. Get loud. Scare her to death. They'll start talking. While they're playing games, these children are still out there. They're coming.
The footprint carried astonishing potential. Within days, RCMP had remapped the search grid. On May 31st and June 1st, more than 100 volunteer searchers, drones, police dogs, infrared-equipped crews, and RCMP ground teams retraced and expanded the pipeline corridor near Gerlach Road, covering every square meter for fresh clues. Site turn search 2 turn search 3 turn search 7. Amy Hansen, manager of ground search, told local online groups that the blueprint remained their focus, despite being considered previously. On social media, she emphasized that dogs and scent teams were redirected to the same trail. The significance: investigators believed, however tentatively, that the print could have been made as recently as the children's disappearance, and thus belonged either to Jack or Lilly, or to an adult who accompanied them. Site turn search 5 turn search 7. In the days following, the RCMP confirmed publicly that the boot impression was child-sized, an acknowledgement that heightened both hope and scrutiny.
See what I'm talking about? At least one person up there is thinking a little bit. At least. Thank God of that. Okay.
Site turn search 7. Major crime unit involvement was quietly escalated, according to RCMP CPLAW, Carly McCann, though she declined to elaborate in press briefings. Site turn search 1, turn search 4. The discovery's location matters. The site lies within kilometers of the children's home, near a topographic low, where searchers had twice overlooked deeper underbrush. As searchers expanded their grid that final long weekend in May, the pipeline zone became their primary corridor again. As if the bootprint had forced their hand. Site turn search 2. Every volunteer on that pipeline stretch was briefed. That print might be the slip.
And why was that boot, that muddy boot, under the sofa in the living room in their trailer?
Tether between two lost children, and whatever path they followed, or that someone else followed them. Authorities described the find in cautious tones. RCMP emphasized that while it prompted renewed focus, there was no confirmation yet of its connection to Jack or Lilly. Site turn search 7. Yet insiders at ground SAR gatherings and online platforms, such as web sleuths and Facebook recovery groups, quoted source accounts that the print matched sizes consistent with Lilly's small hiking boots. The level of detail wasn't confirmed, but volunteers in uniform spoke of dogs and handlers converging on that spot, trying to pick up a scent trail tied to the same boot impression. Site turn search 5. A key element that RCMP deliberately kept the size and shape ambiguous, describing it only as small or child-sized to avoid biasing public speculation. Site turn search 7 turn search 3. Internally, investigators were reportedly testing the tread pattern against Lilly's pink boots and Jack's dinosaur prints. If they matched, the print might confirm the siblings walked that pipeline stretch. If they didn't, it could prolong a trail linked to an unknown adult, or purposely laid. For public statements referred only to possible
Purposely laid.
Action and ongoing analysis of tread and pattern. That tread comparison, if documented, would be the quiet criteria by which RCMP judged the lead credible. It would shift their theory from wandering to somebody might have been with them. If not that, then this footprint would mark the last known step in the forest both children may have taken. Meanwhile, neighborhood residents reported an unusual increase in aerial drone flights over the same corridor in the nights before June 1st. Heat-seeking units followed up where dogs lost scent in the forest depths. CP Pelson McCann told reporters that the drones deployed on the pipeline trail to search for heat signatures as they scoured the zone around the footprint.
That's when they found them two little children. Their own daddy killed them. And the way they were laid, it kind of explained like how Jack and Lilly are apart from each other.
And if they found no living targets, Site turned search 1 turned search 4. Later, Amy Hansen confirmed to one volunteer leader that the faint thermal readings near the footprint were inconclusive, but enough to trigger expansion with infrared drones. By the morning of June 2nd, more than 75 volunteers and RCMP searchers had covered 3 full circuits of the pipeline trail at different times of day and night, all keyed to the new bootprint's coordinates Site turned search 2. But all they found were more trees, bog-sodden ground, and silence. No second print, no clothing, no broken branches. For families and friends, this may seem like yet another path closing, but RCMP insiders say something has shifted. Their grid search assumption is no longer cover everything equally, but rather cover everything along that footprint axis. Where once the search radius hovered at 4 kilometers, now the primary zone shrank along that northwest corridor between Gerlach Road and a minor creek whose flow and tangle of roots could snare anything headed toward the nearby highway. Site turned search 7. Daniel Martell, the children's stepfather, who had already clashed with RCMP over earlier findings, was quietly escorted to the footprint zone, but only as an observer. No statement from him confirmed new discoveries. He remained tight-lipped, acknowledging only that he had been shown where the footprint might be connected to previous clues. He told reporters, "I hope they're finding something real. We can't keep searching like this without something."
I hope they're searching for something real. He knows he pressed that bootprint down. Dumb nut.
New. He added that investigators were keeping him a respectful distance, not suspect, just present. Site and search 1 search 4. Amid the silence, some volunteers shared their unease on Facebook. One search leader posted, "That print is small, probably Lilly, and I just feel like it was left there days after the kids went missing." Another speculated it could be a false trail set up by an adult. These are whispers, uncorroborated, but the existence of the bootprint has sparked something, theories shifting from tragedy conspiracy. Either Jack and Lilly walked that line alone, or someone else walked it after them. RCMP has not confirmed either scenario. Their public messaging remains steady. New clue, worthy of expansion, but not yet a breakthrough. Yet in the press they warn, these forests are deep and deceptive, and even a single bootprint can lie overlooked for weeks. They're asking for reminders, urging those with dashcam or homeowner trail cam footage between late April and early May on Gerlach Road to come forward, believing that trace video evidence might show children or booted adult entering or exiting that pipeline trail. Site turn search 2 turn search 3. They refer to the bootprint like a breadcrumb, small, but perhaps leading somewhere critical.
I think I hear
So
something.
now, margins of the forest are drawn tighter, drones circle overhead, dogs sniff the same trail at night. RCMP's careful words, possible connection, child-sized, grid expansion, carry the weight of something big, though unconfirmed. With each sweep, they're looking not just for the next print, but for anything. A twig snapped at boot height, a piece of cloth, a glove, even track impressions in the mud beside the bootprint. Each would amplify the site's significance. And there it lies, the solitary print, alone in the mud. It took weeks to find. It takes only minutes to vanish. To investigators, it's now a fulcrum, a pivot point where the search's focus dramatically changed. To searchers, it's a path worth walking back over and over. To the Sullivan family, it's a sign that hope may not be lost, and that the forest might still be whispering their children's names. But what happened after that bootprint? Was it Jack, or Lilly, or someone else? And where did that lone footprint lead? No one knows yet,
But tomorrow, the RCMP will begin its second round of forensic tread analysis, comparing it to boots seized from the Sullivan home and worn by searchers. They'll look for unique wear patterns, mud composition, soil DNA. They'll mine data from drone logs to pinpoint searcher presence in that exact spot. And to rule out contamination. Every hypothesis will be tested. The pipeline trail is being defined by a single mark in the soil. It is time to retrace the next steps. What if that boot print isn't theirs, but someone else's? And if it isn't theirs, what does that mean for where Jack and Lilly went, or were taken? It surfaced as innocuously as the boot print, an unremarkable scrap of fabric, yet to anyone who knew Jack and Lilly, it carried an electric charge. Amid the mud and underbrush of the Gerlach Road pipeline corridor, searchers and family alike were suddenly drawn to a small square of cloth. Not a child's sweater or toy, but a piece of blanket, worn, faintly patterned, damp, and frayed. The discovery, like the boot print, rekindled the embers of hope. Amid weeks of silence, it became the second new clue with the power to define everything that followed. The blanket fragment came to light on the night of June 10th, during the intensified sweep of the pipeline area. That same stretch where the lone boot print had set investigators on high alert. According to RCMP sources, search teams conducted multiple passes that evening, armed with infrared drones, scent dogs, and high-resolution mapping systems. That's when, near the bootprint site, a volunteer handler showed RCMP her find. A piece of soft fabric, not items belonging to either child, but matching what Daniel Martel, the siblings' stepfather, described as a piece of Lily's blanket. Site Turn Search 10, Search 7. In press briefings, RCMP emphasized caution. They acknowledged that items are periodically found in such wooded terrain, old clothing, picnic debris, stray toys, but they confirmed the fabric was unique, unlike other materials recovered before. Its arrival appeared too close to the boot print in both space and time. By June 3rd, drones and handlers had converged on the intersection of these two clues, boot print and blanket, and a forensic sweep had begun. Site Turn Search 7. Publicly, Sipal Sandy Matharu, of the RCMP Northeast Major Crime Unit, declined to verify whether the blanket belonged to Lilly or matched any bedding from the Sullivan household. We're analyzing all evidence, she said. Items like these are being sent for forensic testing, including lab tests on fabric fiber and any biological matter. Internally, RCMP sources told...
See, that's what's taking so long. They're sending everything off. Even if they can get DNA out of the bone marrow that's at that well, it could take weeks, could take a month, could take more. And that's what they know. And they're praying that this will go cold. But once they have DNA matching on anything, that piece of blanket or whatever, if they find any matching, they're going straight to jail. And I pray that if Malay has been found, that she's in custody now. I pray. I don't know if she's been found. I asked the question. I heard a yeah. I heard a maybe. I don't know. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's on DNA. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like they said, everything is placed like it's been staged, not like just a toy that a child was sitting there playing with and just laid there. And the thing of it was, one of the dolls had one of Lily's dresses on it, and it had been wet and sticky so much that it kind of mended to the body of the doll. So you're just sitting in junk like that. They knowed it would trigger something with a piece of that cloth off of her blanket. I mean, they just trying to fool around what they're doing just to stall time. Uh, but it says breaking. That's what's getting everybody's attention. Yeah. Breaking. RCMP just discovered something. Well, so far, we already know what they found. So,
Told investigators the fabric was distinct, soft, plush, with
and if they find anything new, that's just going to be a little bit longer for them to have to wait and test it.
pastel threads and a strawberry lace motif, raising the possibility it was a fragment, torn, dropped, or used mid-disappearance. Site turn search 10. Martel's statement to RCMP and media confirmed what had circulated in private forums. The blanket scrap was shown to him by officers, alongside the shirts and a water bottle found earlier near Gerlach Road on May 5th. Site turn search 1 turn search 4.
Shirts and a water bottle.
He described the fabric as Lily's blanket, a baby blanket she'd had since infancy, now barely a remnant, tattered at the edges. But Martel also acknowledged it wasn't found within the home or property bounds, but deeper in the woods, raising unspoken questions. How far had it traveled, and how did it end up off-trail? A Facebook thread within local search coordination groups lit up almost immediately. One volunteer posted, "It wasn't found by SAR." A family member told handlers where it was, right beside the boot print. Another wrote, "It's strange, so close to print, but patchy, water damaged. Could have been used like shawl the kids wrapped around themselves." Site turn search 7.
What did I just say? You know that dirty diaper was not going to stay on Jack. Lilly said plainly, used his shirt to tie around him. See, sometimes it wouldn't hurt for some of these authority people to realize that we actually get information straight from the horse's mouth instead of from what they say. We getting it direct. If they just shut their mouth and open their dadgum ears a little bit, okay, they probably find out something. Yeah, it's sick. It's sick.
That same thread spawned speculation. Was the placement circumstantial, debris from early search packs? Or was it evidence of a short-lived refuge, perhaps where Lilly tried to comfort Jack? The possibility alarmed search managers. Amy Hansen, Ground SAR leader.
Yes, wrapped it around him so he wouldn't be running around butt naked. Bunch of stupid idiots. This is ignorant.
Reportedly spoke to volunteers. Check just beside that print spot. Feel under the mats, behind stumps. That fragment may have been there for weeks or minutes. We need to know which. Her direction coincided with RCMP's broadening of its digital surveillance net. They tapped drone footage and infrared logs to identify who approached the site when, isolating a 17-minute window on the afternoon of May 30, before the official return to the pipeline, and scanning volunteer patrol timestamps to exclude contamination. Site turn search 13. Those efforts exploded across
them. If they did that 17 minutes after they found that item, it would have been showed up blue, cold. And if they would have caught it maybe in the first 60 seconds or so, it would have still been red.
Evidence analysis
Thermal is only as good as perfect timing. That's all that's fit for.
labs. Forensic teams opened separate protocols. One focused on fabric analysis, weaving patterns, thread counts, suspected brand weave. Another targeted DNA swabbing, testing the fibers from maternal skin cells, saliva, or even sweat that could tie it to Lilly. They also planned to test soil traces in the fibers, clinging grit, pollen, or spores, to place the blanket at that exact coordinate and time site turn search 0. By June 5, RCMP had publicly confirmed the blanket was among the new evidentiary items of interest, and they assured that analysis was underway. They also reiterated that no other clothing belonging to Jack or Lilly had been found recently, strengthening the fragment's perceived significance. Site turn search 10 sen. Yet the official tone remained neutral. Corporal Tremblay reminded reporters, "We can't confirm this belonged to either child. This is one piece of a larger puzzle." He invited the public and media to await results. But behind closed doors, investigators were said to be electrified. They'd secured warrants to compare the fragment to bedding from the Sullivan home, and were cross-referencing it with daycare and travel lists to trace whether the blanket had ever been outside the property before. Site turn search 2 turn search 10. Meanwhile, in Pictou County, the revelation sparked waves of reaction. Mothers and moms of Pictou group posted prayers. Fathers speculated on Reddit. Maybe they sheltered under it at night? Did they drop it during a hideout? And on Web Sleuths, one user wrote, "If it was hers, why didn't the RCMP say so? They must be fishing for confirmation." A reference to the cautious language used thus far. Site turn search 7 turn search 0. On the ground, volunteers retraced search logs. One handler described in private chats how she'd circled the pipeline twice on June 2. First brush, then tools. Near the foot of a gnarled maple, beside a depression where the boot print lay, she'd spotted a pastel stripe. Upon closer inspection, it was the blanket scrap, rough to the touch and curled by damp. She marked GPS coordinates and texted her leader, who notified RCMP. It became the command center's second priority after the boot print.
See, what they've done is made enough chaos out in different spots of the areas that he knows that they're only going to go so far out and so far in length. Because you see, this stuff wasn't found right off the top. But with every little bitty thing that has been found, okay, let's pray that the water bottle had a cap back up on top of it. Because you know a child, they're going to put their top lip over one side of it and their bottom lip on the other. And it's going to show DNA. That blanket's going to show DNA. They can match it up with that blanket. They while they're being ignorant about that muddy boot print and her muddy boot being under the couch in the living room, that's stupid too. But then again, if they've got all this info and all these items and sent to the forensics, yeah, they're good as gone. Good as gone. And you know that's their way of trying to keep the children away from exactly where they are. If they'll keep playing the games and if they'll keep falling for it. And that's the trouble. The searchers and whatnot and this and that, they're falling for it every time. You know, they've got, and that's why that finally that search woman, that main one, said, "This is it." And I don't blame her because she knows damn well them children are not laid out there in them woods out there. I mean, in places that dogs can't even get. Come on. There you go. You know, wish we had the address of that home that property that was uh, passed down to her, so we could Google Earth it and look over at that well and zoom into it and to the house or whatever's still standing. Uh, I guess it's a pretty old house. I don't know. Her grandpa had it, so uh, and somebody may have had it before he had it. Who knows? It may have been built in the mid 1800s. I don't know. But if we had that coordinates, we could look and see what they're seeing. Um, but they keep the YouTubers put stuff like breaking, RCMP just discovered something. They're just talking about stuff that's already been discovered. We didn't know it. We didn't heard about it. It's nothing new. Until there's something new that comes out, it's just crazy. Okay? I mean, do y'all not think so? I mean, we need new evidence. We need to make sure that them teeth, or if it was a child from back in the 1800s, and bone, children's bone, you can definitely tell the difference between a child's bones and an adult. So get the bone marrow out of it and start doing something. Check it, match DNA, get the blanket, match the sewing on it, the threading on it. If it matches up, okay, there you go. That is grounds for uh, 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 what was that called? Uh, when you try to uh, mess with an investigation, you know, it's called something. Whenever dist- when they're trying to do a search and somebody hinders it, tampering with evidence. Yeah, uh, tampering with evidence. Uh, um, false, false things. All that can fall back on Daniel, trying to put all this new stuff out there and knowing good and well that they're not there. Tampering with evidence, yeah. And, it's not like they should let this be front page news. When someone does this, especially children, they will plant things in certain ways to make you be off track of where you actually need to be. So if these children are not in them woods, they've done searched it 5 miles long, 5 miles wide. Nothing. Not nothing. Okay. Next step, go to the property that belonged to her grandpa. They done got the court order to dig. Check the grounds, check the well, pull up what you can, and good and well if it's got sulfate in it, it's going to deteriorate the flesh. If it's in there too long, it's going to deteriorate the bone marrow. They've done proven that they've got child bone and dental uh, teeth that belong to a child. So, uh, yeah, so they need to pull away from their place, but keep someone watching his every move, and any friend or whoever comes watch their every move, but be unseen. Continuously to dig in that well until get enough that you got enough remains for to set out on the ground or on plastic and have a full body scale of children. And like I said, if it's got enough DNA in it, go ahead and send it off, get it done. like I said, we could be waiting weeks, we could be waiting a month, we could be waiting 6 weeks, whatever. But tampering with evidence, yes. And if they were smothered in the home before they ever left the home, uh, if he carried the children out, then he would get a charge also for uh, tampering with a deceased body or corpse. Uh, uh, yeah, a corpse. And if they found her already, then she's in custody now, unless she's bailed out. But uh, we need to know if that baby's safe and all that good stuff. And there's no listing of it today so far. Now tonight they may be. We'll just have to wait and see. And by the way, I'm doing something for you, Alice. I'm making you something, and I will show it to you tonight on the show. I believe you'll enjoy it, and I believe you appreciate it. So I want to be able to do that as a gift from me and Christina. Uh, yeah, till they get the results out, there's nothing else we can do. Not nothing. Tonight, either send me some clips that we can listen to, at least above 5 years of age or whatnot. And if you ain't got that, then we'll just turn the spirit box on and just see if we can hear from someone's loved one or whatnot. We'll just goof off tonight. But I want to show what I've made you, and we'll be sending it to you. And I do believe you'll really enjoy it. Yeah. Well, she got one of them, like I said, one of them flip phone things, and it'll ping with a tower. But she may have did it as she was coming out of her home. There may be a tower just not too far from where Mama is, and if she threw it away, then they'll be able to find the phone because they can track it. So they're all in the doghouse now. But let's just pray that she is in the jailhouse now. Like I said, she gets off at 7, so probably about 8:30, something like that. We'll be on. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for being here.